Thank you for the explanation.
Yep.
Is there any other discussion? Mike?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Keith? And a yes for me. Motion carries. City Commissioners' reports. We'll start with Dave tonight.
I have nothing to report.
Okay. Mike?
It's on the agenda, so.
Okay. Paul?
Yes, on HEDC, we have a meeting on Monday. Beautification, I'm just kind of getting caught up. I did my first meeting on last Monday, so we're getting kind of caught up on how all that works. Electrical, as you can tell by the checks, there's a lot of electrical going on. I know that Ashley and Jim met with MRES. I don't know if she wants to elaborate at all on what they talked about.
Do you want me to do that now, or I do have it from my?
You can do it on your report.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Nicole?
As we know, Larry Mueller put in his notice for stepping down as chairman a week ago, so I will plan to attend the next meeting to see who the new chairman of the airport is. Other than that, I don't have anything.
Okay. The pool is going as well as we can so far. So we're still working on the budget. I'm going through it and double checking a few things. The one thing that I looked at was I asked Ashley to find out about a Bank of North Dakota loan for that, what we could do for the electrical line that goes underneath that we replaced or putting in for the go underneath the interstate. Initially, I think we planned for 350, so we didn't want to deplete that account out. I do have some good news. We got a letter from the state of North Dakota judicial system from district court, and our municipal contract has been approved. And that should be it for tonight. Jim is gone. JR, do you have anything for tonight?
Only thing is to say you stole my news, because we got that same letter. And then I believe for some of those, well, not to jump, I guess, I could wait till number 7, but just to update, I did send out 2 more letters for the VC ticket items, and then in relation to the court contract, I believe there is hearings this Wednesday for some of those that are going to court. So.
Yep, I believe so. Ashley?
Okay, bear with me. I kind of have a lot here. So I had talked to Levi. Glenda needed me to pick a hearing date for the budget hearing and it had to fall between certain dates. And so September 19th at our regular city commission meeting will be the public budget hearing at 6:30. As most people know, school's getting back to going and everything, and junior high volleyball starts next Monday, August 22nd, and I'm one of the coaches. As of now, our last game is on October 18th, so I will be in the office from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, and weekends as needed. I'm also set up to work from home, so if I need to, I have the ability to work evenings when I get home as well. I will have to miss 3 commission meetings, September 6th, September 19th, and October 17th, but Julie and I have already talked about it, and she will be able to come. If for some reason she cannot make it, Sarah will sit in to take notes. Marcy, this is what, piggybacking off of what Paul was talking about, Marcy Douglas and Tim Blodgett, I don't know how to say his last name, sorry Tim, from MRES came last Tuesday and met with me and Jim for our biennial member survey. And they go through a list of questions about our needs and what we see for the future, and different things about what we feel Hillsboro is lacking as far as electrical and our biggest one is alignment and we talked about different ways we can try to get somebody up here for, it's us, Northwood, and Lakota. So still trying to figure some of that stuff out. They highly encouraged me and the electrical portfolio holder to go to Sioux Falls, South Dakota on September 21st and 22nd. It's for their leadership conference. It starts Wednesday at 10 a.m. and ends at noon on Thursday. Need to register no later than August 22nd, which is next Monday. I did put all the information for that in your guys' folders. So I would like a blessing to go for that. And if Paul would like to go as well. I looked and I could not find what the registration fee was, so I'll have to look further. But all the information is in your packets. The North Dakota League of Cities Conference, annual conference, is on September 22nd through the 24th at the Alaris Center in Grand Forks. The early bird registration ends August 26th. All info is in your commission folders. So whoever would like to go to that, all elected officials are welcome to go. There's actually elected officials training, and that is on, I do believe, that Thursday, from 10 a.m. to 4. So just let me know who wants to get registered, and I can get that going for everybody. Paula Suda emailed me, and they can, the floors in here are really bad, and they're really hard to scrub and sweep. They really need to be waxed. I got a hold of Paula, and she emailed me back, and they can wax the community center floors this Wednesday or Thursday for $2,500. So if we're able to, if you guys would bless that and get a motion for that. And then the heat pump got hit during the winter. We sent it into insurance, and we received a check for $797.50. It appears that we'll get an additional $2,000 once the heat pump is replaced. Goose River Heating and Cooling came out and looked at it and gave us an estimate of $5,595 to replace. Cost out of pocket after insurance. After we get that another $2,000 from insurance, our cost out of pocket would be about $2,797.50. I know that was a lot to digest, and I asked for a lot.
The floor waxing, what buildings are they doing?
This one.
Just this one? Just this building?
I think they always do, my understanding from what Julie has told me is they always do the armory, but we specifically had asked what it would cost to do this building, because this has not been on their list before.
How much was it? How much was it?
For the waxing the floor was $2,500. And it is a pain to mop and sweep, just speaking from experience. And even our cleaning ladies had asked us about it, so another reason why I reached out to Paula.
Did she say that she had done that before?
Not that one, not this one. The previous one
Okay.
that had just resigned, she had done it before. But
How long does it stay good for?
Depends on how much traffic you get and everything. The school, they do it every year, but then there's high traffic.
right.
Mhm.
Some hospitals, I know they do it. Gary, did you guys do it every 6 months sometimes when you were at the hospital? Do you know? The wax on the floors? Right.
Because I'm assuming this has never been waxed before.
My understanding is
We're
yes,
talking about
or
it for
a long
years.
time ago.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out how often we'd have to do it, so.
Well, it's a
I-
good thing to know for budgets and stuff.
But I
just
need
seems
a
like
answer so that they can come in either this Wednesday or Thursday or not. Because I gotta let Paula know tomorrow.
It just seems awful expensive to me, but maybe, you know.
But that's
I
the
don't
labor,
know.
that's the wax, that's everything.
It's pretty labor intensive.
Yeah, You're welcome to come scrub the floors, Dave,
No,
to try it.
No.
Well, is there anyone else that does it to do a bid to look at the two, or no?
I just went through the school because they already do the armory and they already got all the supplies and they already have all the equipment.
Thoughts? It probably needs to be done.
Needs to be done. It just seems expensive, but I don't know. I've never done it before, so I don't know.
Right?
It's a process. I've helped
Yeah.
do it and it's a process.
It'd be nice to know what a competitor would charge, just to know.
Well, then we probably won't get it done by the school.
Nope. Not this year anyways.
Yeah.
well, it wouldn't be fair to the taxpayers if we didn't check on prices. If we found out that we could get it done for $1,000 less,
They could be cheap, they could be well in line, but
you're right.
I think like Dave said, we gotta do our due diligence.
Yeah.
So unless somebody is familiar exactly what that kind of work entails and a cost,
Okay.
I'm not, so I wouldn't be able to
No,
judge without.
I'm not either.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have to buff it down, sand it. There's a whole, it's not easy work, I can tell you that.
So we'll go ahead and hold off on that. And the other item was the leadership training.
Leadership training for down at Sioux Falls.
Are you planning to do both that and
I honestly don't know how I can make it work because that is a very, very busy week between volleyball games,
right?
this, and annual conference. I'm hoping, I would like to do the annual conference, but I also have other items in the office I have to do, so I'm hoping that some of you guys will go because it is good information. You learn a lot.
I think it would be good, to do one or the other. I don't know if we could have you out of the office for the whole time. So.
Well, that's what I mean. If you guys, like
I'm
couple
planning on going to the
commissioners.
annual conference
Okay,
What days of the week is that one in Sioux Falls?
Wednesday,
Wednesday,
Thursday.
Thursday.
Wednesday, Thursday?
so it does overlap with the elected officials one for the League of Cities in Grand Forks on Thursday.
I might be interested in that one, but
In the Sioux Falls one?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'll make a motion that whoever is interested in going, that
Is there a second?
I'll second.
This is for
Dave
Sioux Falls,
moves.
right?
For Sioux Falls, yep.
Okay.
Mike seconded. Is there any discussion? Nicole?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Dave?
yes.
A yes for me. Anything else, Ashley?
Just whoever wants to go to League of Cities.
I am planning on going to League of Cities. If anybody else is interested, I know I've been there before. It is good to go to, even if you can't make it to both days. Okay. I don't think we have anything from the Sheriff's Department or City Engineer, so we'll go on to the beautification.
Question, heat pump? Are
Oh
we
yes,
allowed
that was,
to?
I knew there was. heat
I don't
pump.
want to freeze this winter because I froze last winter. Can
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
Made by Dave, seconded by Mike to get a heat pump for the City Hall. Any other discussion?
Do we have just one bid for that? That's all we need, or?
Yeah, same thing.
They're the ones that put it in, and they're the ones that came and did the insurance, like the inspection for the insurance company. They're the ones that put the original one in.
Well, I think there again, I think that, I'm not saying that they're perfectly fair on their price and everything, but I do think we should get competing estimates for apples to apples.
Did you ask for any more bids, or is it because of the insurance you?
That's, the
Didn't.
insurance company told me to get a hold of the person that put it in and get a quote on how much it would cost to fix it or replace it, and so that's what I did, and the insurance company told me to go through the same people, so that's what I did. I was just following
But
the
I wonder if-
instructions from the insurance company.
I wonder if we we shouldn't have to do that.
I
I
don't
wouldn't
think
think.
so. Insurance pretty much lets you pick anybody, I think.
I would think so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We can look elsewhere. I was just following the instructions given to me by the insurance company.
Should we approve to get a new heat pump, and then we'll work on the backside to get it, make sure we
Yeah,
get the lowest
because
bid?
Yes.
We don't know how long they're gonna take.
Yep.
It
That'll be the,
might be winter.
right.
Yeah,
I don't want to freeze again. It was like 64 in my office a couple times last winter.
So we're
We'll
gonna
bring you a
check
NIPCO.
on prices.
I have like
We're approving that
four
we'll get a new heat pump, but
I have
uh,
4 heaters.
we'll work on the backside to make sure that we,
Yeah.
Okay,
before
well-
we do anything, we'll let you know what the final price is.
Well,
and bids
Well,
from
and
others.
it might be just simple as asking a competitor, you know, to just, because they're busy,
Right.
you know, and if you were to ask somebody, you know, these people, you know, they're competitors, but yet, you know, they're gonna tell you, if you ask them, well, that sounds fair.
Right.
You know, it's just
Well,
doing our due diligence, I think, so.
I'll amend my motion that we go with the heat pump and check with other
Okay.
dealers or installers or whatever we call them.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Mike?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes,
Dave?
Yes,
Nicole? And a
Yes.
yes for me.
I don't know what happened.
Thing again. Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. We'll go down to the BC ticket items. Most of it, we're just waiting for, now that this letter has been approved, we'll be able to move forward on that. There hasn't been any other changes from that, and I think the Beautification Commission has been waiting to see how it's gonna move forward and progress to make sure that things will move the direction that we're hoping instead of going backwards. So,
I think there is one of them that was sent, this from the last meeting, that was gonna be questioned, or was sent to the council here. It was 2022-003. I don't know if that was made.
2022-003.
It says motion was made to refer to city commission, so I'm just wondering if we were gonna,
Let me double check on it.
that's 310 East Caledonia.
So they moved to move that one forward?
Yeah, they moved to move that,
Okay.
the city commission decide if they wanted to, what the city commission's next step would be.
Okay. So that property.
I don't know if you have any pictures of it or not. That's the one with all the,
I can't.
Oh,
I'm trying to
okay.
get it to.
it's the one with all the mat and the garden, the big garden in the back, the van sitting next to the driveway. And
Yep. It's right across the street from the hospital.
to the north.
And there was kind of a mix-up with JR and I, so we didn't get the other ones that we referred on till this week or last week. He got them out, so. last week.
Which ones did you send out? No, just
Should be 2022-1 and 2022-4.
and the other ones have all got letters too, that where it says referred, 2021-01, so I go A, B, oh, that one was closed. C, those, as far as you know, have all been letters sent out.
So the A and C was the ones, I believe, that JR just sent out.
He's, okay, I thought you said you sent out. I must
We
have-
had sent them out before.
So they were sent out in addition to the two you just mentioned.
Those were sent out, A and C were sent out a while ago, I can't remember the exact date. We were waiting, that's when the contract came into place, so we've been waiting on this before the sheriff's department moved forward on it.
That's all I was trying to get the clarifications of which one we were kind of waiting on until we got our
And then
contract.
D is the one that'll be in court on Monday, or on
Monday.
Wednesday. E, we gave her till October 1st, that's chicken scratch. F has been closed, that was the bird property. G and J must have been the ones that were sent. The JR just sent.
Correct.
G and J, okay.
G and J
Okay, so the one we need to talk about is
is
I. Did you get that to work?
Are you able to pull up the pictures on that
I'm trying, it's not loading.
one? No, it's
No.
the one next to it.
I don't know what's going on.
Let's see if
It would be the old Hill House.
Yep.
Does that help? The old Hill House, so you know where it's at?
If you can't get it, maybe I can try.
Yeah, I can't. I'm connected to the internet but it won't even bring up the commission meeting stuff, nothing. And I've, oh there, okay, that one went.
Mine's working. Phew.
Okay, mine's starting to now. Let's see if I can get in here. Oops.
What was ever?
To the,
North. Used to be right next to Tom Clemenson.
oh, okay. That's not the Hill House, is it?
No,
It was.
used to be,
It was the Hill
it
House.
was Our Savior's Lutheran Church parsonage.
But it
Many-
was
many
that
years.
Hill House, or what did they call it? Hill something.
Yeah,
Remember
it
they had
used to
that?
be the Hill House.
They used to
It's
do
got the awning
dinners
over
and
the-
meals and stuff in there, remember?
Yeah,
Shortly after the paddle wheel closed, if I remember right, somewhere there.
right, yeah. Cause isn't that where she moved in there?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
I don't know why it won't let me open it. Got this far.
Yeah, that's the Hill House.
So this is the one, maybe you guys just want to pass it around. So that is one picture of it.
Technology.
Technology works great when it works.
When it works. It just doesn't like to for me. I don't know what else to do. I'm clicking
Yeah,
on it.
I know what it is.
Sometimes it just takes a second. I don't know.
This has been a long second.
Yeah.
the back of the property is really in.
Nicole, were you able to see them all, or do you want me to pass mine around?
Apparently my computer's the only one not working.
I guess.
No,
What's it not doing?
it's not letting me open anything now. It's got a mind of its own and doing its own thing. I don't know.
So, with that, would we like to refer this
You
on?
just had it.
I know now it's
Yeah.
open. Which picture would you like?
If you click the letter, it'll have all of them, won't it?
The what?
The letter would
letter
have
has
all
all
of
of
it.
them.
Oh. Now I don't know what's happening.
Go
I
back.
don't like technology. This one?
Yes. You should have clicked this one the first time. See now.
So on this, what the beautification had said was the vehicle that's there that's unlicensed. Removal of the black plastic covering the grass, trees that have been cut and not removed of the van, and then the fence that was put in that is not part of the garden. And then there was a few circled items. Beautification did get a letter from the individual once, but no progress had been made. I also did talk to the individual, and they were very strict that they weren't going to do a lot of things.
Motion to move ahead then.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Dave. Is there any other discussion? So that'll be referred on with a letter from JR and then referred to the Sheriff's Department for prosecution. Dave?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Nicole? Mike?
Yes.
And a yes for me. Motion passes. All right. Next item of business, we have a citizen that would like to address the commission before we go through everything, so I'll let her come up at this time if the commission is okay with that.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yes.
Come on up, and if you want to turn the mic on.
I'm not good at this. I don't know if you got all the videos that I have sent to Ashley today.
I only got pictures. I didn't get the videos.
You didn't get the videos that came through?
No. I'll check if my computer works. I'll check here again real quick.
I live at 309 South Main Street over here, and I've lived here since 1999 in that house. Before that, since this Anchor Ingredients built last 2 years over here, their dust collection system, I wished I would have taken a picture for you guys. Last year they had a pipe, and it was connected the right way. When they started the system up, the pipe sucked in. So they basically eliminated that pipe out. Now you have all the debris coming out of the pipe into the air, which is the chafings, and my pickup out here is covered in it. Plus, I'm outside, I have allergies really bad, and I've had it 24/7 since they've been going over here. My pool pump, I have to change that more often than I should. My furnace filter, I'm changing quite often because it's going into my house. We have went over and talked to one of the guys over there in June about it, and he didn't know, he thought it was supposed to run like that. I can actually bring up and show all of you the video. This one was taken August 11th, Friday morning, and you can see the particulars coming right around. You can see it blowing out. In my vehicle, I washed last weekend, and now it's covered again.
It's taken from your driveway.
Yep.
Across the street.
3 more videos of different dates, August 2nd, July 17th, and June 12th. I've got 4 of them. And I heard that the Armory has made complaints about it too, with their children over there. My child goes there too, for daycare. And the stuff's floating over there, and I heard you guys was brought up a couple months back, and nothing's been done about it.
So I wouldn't say that nothing hasn't been done about it. I did talk with the manager of the plant. We had a very good conversation about it, and they are working on it with the product to get it fixed. We have been told is on order, but again, with supply chain issues and everything else, it hasn't come in. The way it sounds, it should be in sometime in September, is what we were told.
Yeah, but all the kids have to be out in it, and I have to be out in it, and I itch every time I'm outside when they're running over there.
We've got to get this taken
When
care
was
of.
this video
This has
taken?
been,
That was taken
This-
Friday morning from my driveway.
Friday, okay.
this has been an ongoing situation for years.
I
And
will,
you said they did, like, something on one of these pipes, you could see it physically move or suck in the dirt?
Basically, there was a pipe connected.
Okay. I'm assuming it's gotta be this one?
Yeah. And then actually, the pipe is connected to here.
Okay.
And they closed that off after they started up last fall. I watched that pipe suck right in. So they screwed up on something. You wanna see the video?
Oh, sure, why not?
I can reach out to Everett again and we'll sit down and talk with him. He's been trying to make sure that, to get things, that was the impression that I got from him, that he has definitely been trying to get things fixed. There's a lot of things that go into that along with production demands, so.
I wonder if we shouldn't ask him to write down what his plans are and a timeline in order to solve these issues, because like she said, we've talked about this now for a while, and even if he is waiting for equipment to come in, show us that he's ordered it and it is coming in, if that's what it takes. But we really need to do what we can do to make sure that this is taken care of. And just give us a written plan so we know.
Right.
So we know that he's planning on doing this, this, and this, and that there will be hopefully some light at the end of the tunnel.
I'm not saying that I would like to go that way, but JR, John, is there anything in the ordinance for this?
I'd have to look specifically to see, but really it's a nuisance, is the same thing as we have, and health
I say it's
issues.
environmental.
Yeah, I mean, we could send a letter and I could find we have ordinances that would work for this.
Okay.
I mean, no matter what, it's causing a health issue. It's simple enough. And so if we wanted to pursue it that way, we could. But I think really talking with them will go quite a ways, and
Great.
I think
you'll get the same outcome, I think.
right. I think that's the better route to go. But I think he needs to kind of step up his game a little bit and show it, and not just tell us what's going on, but share this is what my plan is. This is the issue here. This is what we plan on doing. And we plan on having it solved by this point. And if he says, "Hey, we're going to have this solved in September," and now we're in November, it's like
Mm-hmm.
after a while, your words probably aren't going to carry as much weight, unless you can give us a reason why. So, but I do understand if there is a piece of equipment that they're waiting for, but I don't know why there would be a piece of equipment they're waiting for if they weren't having problems. When was it, last summer or something?
Well, no, this Friday, the video that I posted was this Friday.
No, but you said
But
that,
last fall was when they put that pipe in.
right, and there was no issues and it started, so unless they're having issues, whatever that is.
But then they took the pipe out because they kept squashing.
Mhm.
That pipe kept sucking right in. They tried 2 different pipes.
So I will reach out to Everett and I'll do some follow-up with you guys. And Ashley has your contact information, and I think we all do, so we'll let you know what the progression is on it and kind of
Okay.
what the
Guess I'm
timeline
getting
is.
tired of spending $20 to wash my vehicle every week on it.
That is understandable, and like I said, we'll move forward as we can and try to get that timeline so that hopefully we can get an answer and get it resolved here in the next little bit.
I haven't heard anything recently on the other one. Has that gotten better, or on the one over here?
I haven't heard anything over there, so
So if anybody's got issues there, they need to let us know. I know there was people that had issues with that one, but it seemed like it was corrected, at least to some degree. I don't, but if there's people who still have issues with that. The
Thank you.
videos and the pictures are nice. Thanks, man.
Thanks for bringing it to our
Thank you.
attention.
all right, we'll move on to old business. Is there any updates, Dave, on paving project that you know of? I don't believe.
No, I don't. The only thing I'd like to ask your guys' permission, I want to check with some companies about, just get some information and stuff for you guys on chip sealing some of these streets. I think that, you know, I worked for the county for 39 years, and I do know a little bit about blacktop and stuff, so I think that some of our streets can be saved with getting on a rotation of seal coating. I strongly feel that we don't have to go and tear up every street in town here, and I just want to get some more information on it and bring it back to commission, and I've talked to Jim about it, and he agreed with me that some of the streets could probably be, you know, chip sealed, and we're not, you know, we're looking at spending $12 million, and if we don't have to, you know, it'd be a big savings for the taxpayer.
I think that would be a good thing to do and move forward.
Yeah.
Yes,
Everybody agree?
more information.
More information would be the better in this project.
Yes. And you know, I see Jim and his crew have been going around, and they've been doing just a great job on, you know, they fixed a lot of these, you know, where the drains were washed out and stuff. They put asphalt in it, and they've sealed up some spots, and they're doing a really good job around, you know. I give them credit for it, and they're out there putting material down, and that's what we want them to do, so that's all I have on that end.
Okay. Mike, on the building permit process?
Yeah, we agreed to move ahead with the, Ashley's got it there,
Well, I'll try.
I think.
I might.
Did it get put in the notes online, Ashley?
No, I
No,
didn't. I
because
didn't
it
see
got
any.
handed in today. I think you and Sarah finalized it, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it was finalized at we voted to go ahead with it. There was one little change on there that we'll note.
Looks like Sarah did put it in there.
So the only thing we changed on here is under planning and zoning was that we agreed to go with that we could do an accessory building up to 750 square feet.
Mike, do you know what page that's on?
Hmm?
Do you know what page of that on here?
It'd be the first one, I assume.
Here we go. Right there, under 3, other applications will be forwarded to planning and zoning. under local inspections, I suppose.
Basically, you just want on there that, and that's more on the internal side that you guys will decide on that. Not necessarily that it has to be
Yeah.
specifically on there.
Well, yeah, if it's, we just agreed to go up to 750 square feet on that we would handle that, so.
Okay. It's not in here. It's more of a, so everybody can understand and hear what it looks like is there'll be 2 applications and only 2 applications. One for commercial, one for residential, and that'll be for remodels, new bids, demos. So the only difference would be the commercial and residential. The application would be submitted to the auditor's office, and application, once it's submitted, they'll have 7 days. The applicant will be notified of the status, and they must have on their preferred contact on the application, the city auditor or the auditor's office, forward it on to planning and zoning, unless it is for reshingling, residing, or replacement of decking material. Those would be approved right away and handed out that day. Everything else will be forwarded on to planning and zoning, and then planning and zoning would do similar to what we do on the beautification, where it will be sent out to them, and if they're in agreement of which direction it'll go, whether to planning and zoning for Mike to look at, or forward it on to Midwest inspections. We did look at, or it looks like they changing the permit fees. So the base permit fee would be $25 no matter what. When it's a street cutting, would be $1,000 deposit. If it needs to be out and inspected, it would be a $50 fee. If it has to go out and be re-inspected, would be $75. Surveying, that would be, if that homeowner requested AE2S to come in, would be $500. If it had to get resurveyed, it would be an additional $750. The other change, the inspector will follow up with 1 year to see the project's progress. If not completed, may grant up to another 6 months extension. Anything longer than that, it would need to go back for reapproval through planning and zoning. And the applicant may notify the city if it's completed before the final inspection. If it goes to Midwest inspections, if they decide to send it on, we change the permit fees a little bit different on those, the way it looks also. The base permit would be $25. That's to cover the in-house auditor staff. Street cutting, same thing, $1,000. Surveying is $500 and $750, and then it breaks down based on the amount. And if it's anything special, it's $120 per hour for them to come up. Is there any questions for Mike on that?
How does the process now when you're going to Midwest inspections? Because I know you guys are going to look at it. Do you look at it first and then send it to them?
Mm-mm. Nope.
You don't look at, so how's that going to work?
If it's a new house, if it's a bigger than 750 square feet, as far as an accessory shed, if it's an addition, it automatically goes to Midwest inspections.
You had said one time you want to make sure that both entities saw it.
So that's what our ordinance says, is not necessarily, once Mike Levens or Midwest signs off on it, then it should come back to the auditor's office, and then it's sent to planning and zoning for the final yes approval. Because the way that the ordinance reads is there's supposed to be 2 sets of eyes or 2 groups that look at it. So that's where the building inspector, whether it's our local inspector or Midwest inspection, and then the final would be planning and zoning, unless it's just the planning and zoning as a whole. For example, on a variance, then it would come to us for that final approval. That way there's always 2 approvals on everything. Does that make sense, JR? Okay.
One other thing, beans we're looking at this, the city guys get a lot of calls for finding pins. Do we want to start charging for that? Some of them can take a lot of time. And in the summer, there's a lot of them, so. I do some, but I'm not very good at it, so.
My belief on it, and you guys can, and Jim and I have talked about it, and John and I have talked about it, because John does most of the pin work, is that I think we're at that point where it is up to the homeowner to be responsible, and we can forward them on to AE2S, or they can find another surveying company. Not that I don't trust people, but there are individuals out there, if we said, here's your pin and here's where you should be, if something happened, they'd come back and say, well, you said this. So if it's a certified inspector that comes and does it, I think that's our best option. That's just my feeling on it.
So are we gonna quit finding pins?
I would think the only time that we'd look for pins is, for example, you go out for a shed and you need to find out if it's close, you could use it and have the guys look at it to see if you can find if it's where it's supposed to be. But then say, if the homeowner had any disagreement with it, you would say, well, you'd have to go, you need to get it surveyed then.
Yeah.
I think it only should be for our reference.
Well, sometimes it's time consuming too, because sometimes you have to start the block down and work your way to find some pins. So it's time consuming.
So they are or not finding pins, got it.
That's the question.
That's my view is no, that we don't find, unless it's for our own use.
What does it cost for somebody to come in and do it, do you know? And how available is it to find somebody? I think if we're gonna require that, we should have an entity that at least gives some names to people so they know who to contact, and if
Well,
it's
I'm
just
sure-
AE2S or if it's, I don't know.
E2S is the one that we have, and
I'm sure they'd, charge mileage to come from Grand Forks.
Well, that's why I'm
wherever they
curious.
are.
I'm curious what kind of money you're talking,
Yeah.
you know, so. We had people talking about a $25 building permit being expensive. Well, what do you think they're gonna say when we say you gotta get your own location checked?
but there again, if we do it and we're wrong, and somebody comes back, it could cost tens of thousands of dollars for the residents.
Well, is there forms that you can have that you don't take responsibility for? You'll do it, but we're not gonna be held legally liable?
You can try to contract some of that liability away, but you'd contract it all away. You'd basically say, here it is, but don't use it.
Well, that's the
The
decision
only
they can
one
make.
that's surveying is technically something you have to be licensed to do.
Mhm.
When the city's finding it for its own city purposes, that's something different. But if we're finding
Mhm.
property lines, you're
Mhm.
crossing a line, pun intended, of what the city might be able to do. For cost estimates, surveyors charge per hour, so that would
No, I'm
be
just.
spendy, but I don't know how often it happens at the same time.
Mhm.
But then it's on their backs.
Correct.
And when I talked to Steve about it, when we're doing these new builds, he figured 500 would probably get us pretty close. He said before, when they were going out to do Prairie View, he thought they were charging $750 because they had to do a little bit more work on those, and they had to send 2 people out. So
Yeah, those were marked already. Those were already pinned and marked where the pins were, so they were out there setting elevations and whatever else, so.
whatever he had said, that out there it took 2 people. Where here he said it's only going to take 1 to do it. So
But in the older parts of town, it's
Right.
tough to find them.
but they're in a realm of a thing. If you're building a $50,000 building,
Correct.
is $750 a.
Yeah, if you're building a 50,000, but what if you're only building a smaller project? I'm I'm just being the devil's advocate here and basically saying what you're gonna hear from people.
I
So-
know, and
Especially people that have had, for years, been spoiled and the city's been checking it. Those are the ones that are probably gonna be the biggest, because, well, why do I have to do this now? I never did this before.
because at some point, things do change and we have to move
I
on.
don't deny that, but I'm just telling you, that's what people are gonna say. So,
And I do understand that, and I would be frustrated too, but at some point, we have to look out the best interest of the city as a whole, and is it the best interest for us to get out of that business of doing?
is that your recommendation, Mike?
Yep,
Okay,
because it's getting to be more and more.
okay.
Okay,
What,
so then,
We need to put that in here.
we could add that into the motion if you approve this, and then, with the city will be not be doing any pin location or, pin locates or boundary line locates,
Mhm.
property lines, yep.
Mhm. Could we possibly put a link to a phone number for AE2S? Not that they have to use them, but it would, otherwise they're gonna call you and say, well, who do I have do this?
I
So
think
you're
we
gonna
could
be telling
put on
them-
there several around the area.
Yeah, you can do whatever, it just depends on how much time you wanna put into finding those, so.
I think you can Google search and get them pretty easy. Do I have a motion for this?
So you're gonna so what'll be on the website then? We'll have the two forms in this,
I believe that would be the best, to have the two forms in this
okay?
document. Mike Blevins' forms. With those changes that Sarah had. I'd entertain a motion if anybody is ready. Not everybody at once.
Well, I think it's a good start from where we were. We might have to tweak it going down the road, but I think it's definitely clarifies things a lot more, so I'll make a motion to go ahead with the new building process with this, which you have updated there. This is an old one, I think, and the two forms posted online.
And the city doesn't, and do
In the
they?
city will not locate pins for
Property.
property residents, so.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved by Paul, seconded by Nicole. Is there any discussion? Nicole?
Yes.
Dave?
yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And a yes for me. Motion carries. And it'll go into effect whenever you do get it up and updated. Hopefully by the next meeting, at the latest. All right.
I will, just one addition, now that's over, but, we're gonna probably have people, contractors, other people that might complain about this, but this has been on the agenda for how long? And to contractors out there and to citizens, if you have an issue or if you had an issue, you should have been here expressing those concerns, because we can't make good decisions if we don't have good information. So if you're out there listening, you have to follow these agendas and make sure that there's something that might affect you to get in here. So, we don't want a barrage of people coming in here and saying, well, I'm not gonna pay $750 to get these pins located, and I think we just have to have people be more aware of what's going on in the city and the agenda, so that we don't have those issues. That's just a follow-up. Thank you.
Okay. JR or John, anything on the Community Foundation?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Railroad Park, the last update I got was that they're waiting on one entity to sign off on the lease agreement. The mural, we're still waiting on that to, I believe Beautification's gonna look at, see if there's some different options that we could do.
Yeah, we're just gonna look for some more estimates from to find out if the $20 that they were presenting last time, if that's fair, and just kind of doing our due diligence to make sure that that's reasonable.
You're talking about, what did we say it was gonna cost last time?
Well, they just had an estimate of the person that did the drawing, they would do it for $20 a square,
No, $20 a square foot.
yeah. yeah.
And if we
So-
did the whole wall,
Right.
it would be about
And-
20,000.
And-
Okay, cause I think we were told 20,000 last time, that's what at the last meeting. And I think that was actually said over the mic,
Mhm.
because I've got a lot of comments on that, and a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but the ones I talked to said if we approve $20,000 for that mural and raise the budget up, then that's wrong, so I'm glad this got,
Right.
it
No,
wasn't, wasn't 20,000, so if you're listening, so. But that's what people took the last meeting, so.
Right. Well, it was around, I should clarify, it is $20 a square foot, and if we did the whole side, it could cost us 20,000 by the first estimate. But we are looking at other options, because we were all on the same page that 20,000 to do the whole side would be way too much. So we're trying to find other options to see what we could do.
Okay. And then another comment I got is why we're actually putting it on this wall, that they're concerned that nobody's really gonna see it. And some of them think that maybe it should be, that we should be talking to the dentist's office, and maybe that would be a good wall to put a mural instead of on a street that probably nobody will see it, but, I'm just giving comments of what I heard.
Right. And that was some of the comments we've seen when we, there was a few comments on the voting process, so we had seen a few of those.
Yeah.
And just to let people know from the beautification side, this is still, you're gonna have more than enough opportunity to weigh in as a citizen of Hillsboro before this ever gets put on any wall. So it's just, all of it is just in the planning stages right now, and who's to say that it ever happens? We don't know, but, unless we pursue it, it's just a beautification project that we're looking at, just like the railroad park is a beautification project. The planters were a beautification project, it's just
Right.
all things that we look at,
You just never know, because one of the things we talked about was if there's a fence, could the put murals on the back of the fence in the railroad park? So it's all a process, and.
Well, you know how it is when they hear figures.
Yep, I get it. All right, next item is 1881 extraction application. I believe we are ready. Do we have to have a hearing on it, or will that,
Perhaps John will.
John will know more?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been working on that one, and we don't need a hearing in that there is not a competing business, and the notice has gone out to Tim Gazette as school board president. He would be the ex officio member, non-voting member for the school. Tim was advised that we would be considering this application tonight, and we are ready to go then on the application, which is for a payment in lieu of taxes. I don't think the application got filled out quite correctly when we started, but we fixed that. And so any vote approving or disapproving would be the request for a 5-year payment in lieu of taxes at $1 a year, and the request is based on a percentage of the leased premises that the new entity, 1881 Extraction, needs to pay. So it's not like a full exemption or payment in lieu on the total ag building. It's on the rented premises. We've looked at the lease and the application, and I think everything is everything is in order to be acted on tonight.
Thank you, John. With that, do I have a motion to approve the?
Well, I do have one question, John. On these applications, how thoroughly are they gone through? For example, I'm not sure which page it is, I believe it's page 3. They have in here, and maybe I'm reading it wrong, and it has annual revenue for year 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It shows, like, for example, in year 4, it shows annual revenue of 120,000. But yet, you go down to the number of employees, full-time employees, for number 4, it shows 3 employees, and it shows $50,000. Is that full-time employees are only gonna get $50,000 divided amongst 3 full-time employees? Is that,
And you gotta remember,
it's not individual,
worse yet, that's all projections.
that's the whole, but that's the whole, it's not $50,000 per employee, it's for the whole, all 3. 'Cause it
Well,
says
I
it's
didn't fill
individual.
this out, but I would agree with your point that it is for the total new labor force. And if you follow the form, that's the best I can say. I didn't invent the form and I didn't fill it out, but.
Well, I'm just asking how detailed, so to speak, it is, because, you know, logically speaking, you know, 3 employees in 2022 at an annual estimated payroll of $50,000 for a full-time employee is, you know, is not realistic in my eyes, you know, so I just kind of wonder how, you know, in the big picture, we have to take all these numbers, you know, seriously or not, so, or if it's just, I'm just curious as to that, because there's a lot of lines that aren't filled out, whether or not they should be. Maybe they're not supposed to be filled out. I don't know. Different things.
You know, this,
Or per person.
It says annual.
That's just annual. That's where my question runs in, is how do you have 3? You're talking what, $16,000 a year, if your annual per employee? Am I seeing it right, or?
That's, I think you're correct, looking at the form. It
Right.
looks like they did not indicate if that's full-time or part-time employees.
Yeah, it
though.
does say full-time. If you
So
look on the
that could
bottom
be-
left corner, it says
Correct.
full-time.
I think they're supposed to, in the little, beside number of employees, they're supposed to indicate if it's full or part-time.
Well, they have a line 1 and 2 there.
Yep.
So, and those are under number. I wouldn't have questioned it as much if it was part-time, but, so, and that's just, the thing is, I'm not saying that, it just seems odd that, you know, because we're looking for employees, obviously, and we're looking for projects and things like that, and I just think that, you know,
yeah, I think the approach has been with all of these applications for the city to determine, number 1, is there potential for growth? And number 2, then the most important one we've looked at is, do they legally qualify? And in my opinion, in this case, yes, they do legally qualify. I don't know from Becca or Pat or any of them how successful the business has been in its initial stages. I know they've been working really hard at it, but, you know, in terms of hiring new employees, I'm just not sure what their success has been. So I can't tell you that, other than what's written there. And
thanks, John.
From the assumption, if you were to take the number of employees, carry over the annual revenue, what's left, it would cover that many employees per payroll. However, I don't know what the expenses are, so if you don't carry over your expenses, you can't afford to pay that payroll per person. That's what I would think. So it's an estimation.
Any other discussion? Would anybody like to approve the
I'll make a
payment
motion to approve.
Mike moves to approve for payment of lieu in taxes for 5 years for the 1881 tax exemption. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Paul seconds. Is there any other discussion? Mike?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
And a yes for me. Motion carries. Thank you, John. Next item of business is the Special Assessment Committee. We do have all three. Would we like to confirm those, which would be, y'all tell me. John Myers.
I tried to find the sheet and I cannot find it in here.
Wasn't it Brett Mickelson was the second, or no?
Yeah, I think it was. I tried looking for this, and then I was gonna do it again today.
Did
and
they say Rick Nelson?
I don't know
No.
why. Rings a bell.
Brown.
Brown?
I'm
Oh, okay, yeah, I knew you.
I'm drawing a mind blank on that. Paul, can you help me?
On who?
Oh,
Brown.
Paul.
Paul Brown.
John Paul.
I thought it was a trick question.
John Paul.
I wasn't. And the last one is
So it's John Paul and
Can I
Kyle.
phone?
Les
Fred?
Hurt. That's
There.
it.
There you go. Yes.
And this would be
What was
for,
the last one?
so it'd be John Meyer, Paul Brown, and Les Hurt. And this would be the Special Assessment Committee for the Prairie View, or for the Riverwalk edition, to start with. With that, do I have a motion? Oh, go ahead, John.
I can just throw out, Levi, that the statute talks about staggered terms for the three assessment commissioners, and we have always proceeded on the basis that we get three people to assess the project, they resign, and then the next time we have a project that needs to be assessed, then we get a new commission. So if someone suggests that we're not actually following the century code as it relates to appointing special assessment commissioners on a staggered term, we're doing it the Hillsboro way, because these three will resign when they're done, and then we start over again.
So John,
Could they reapply though, or if they wanted to?
I'm sure they could, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't resign, then the question becomes who was appointed first, second, and third in terms of following the, I don't remember, I think it might be a 3, 4, and 5 year term. Each, someone serving 3, someone 4, and someone 5. So if they like what they're doing and choose not to resign, then we could reach an agreement between the three of them and have them appointed for terms. It's just that in all my years, I've never seen anyone that wants to continue serving on that assessment commission. It's a
Sounds
lot
like
of
a
hard
task.
work.
And they're far and few between on the assessment.
Yes, and that's the other good point, is that we just don't have that many projects that are assessed.
so John, is this do these individuals, they get a certain wage, don't they, for being on this?
Wage isn't quite
Well,
accurate. You know, they normally are paid something for their time, and or if they spend expenses traveling for research or whatever the case might be for the expenses. There's nothing set in the century code in terms of their compensation. There's normally something, and it's not very much for all the work they do.
Okay, thank you.
Wasn't this originally brought up though if we did the street project?
It was, but it was gonna do for both, but if we're not moving forward on the street project, kinda hard, but I would, just for ease sakes, I wrote it down as John Meyer, Paul Brown, and Les Hurton, and say 3, 4, and 5 on their terms in that order, to make it easy if you wanted to.
And John, that's the reason I asked about, compensation, because when we first started talking about a $12 million project, and we talked about getting these 3 individuals to do this job, I was kind of told, and I don't remember who told me this, but they were saying, well, they go off what, off the 12 million to pay, to compensate these individuals, but, I'm just,
I've never seen that in all my years. Usually the amount of compensation depends in part on how much help the commission has, the assessment commission. So for example, if on our street project, when that happens, if AE2S helped the special assessment commissioners, there are going to be a lot less time spent by the assessment commission than if the assessment commissioners do all the work themselves. Like, if you probably remember Jack Hansen being at one of the street project meetings, and he talked about how Jack and I believe Buster Fankhandle, and I'm not sure, it might have been Ray Connor was the third person, how they did their work, but they did that assessment by themselves more commonly. Now the engineers are helpful in Riverwalk, for example. If John Lowry's firm helps with the assessments, that has a direct bearing on how much time the assessment commission spends. But I have never seen the cost of the project be determinative of the salary or payment that has gone to the special assessment commissioners.
thank you. So did we get a motion?
So if I remember right, it would be the commission president that would present it, and the commission would then affirm or not affirm, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
there would be a vote for approval
Okay.
based on your presentation, that's correct.
Okay. So I would ask for approval for John Meyer to have a 3-year term, Paul Brown to have a 4-year term, Les Hurt to have a 5-year term, and to set their initial wage at $50 per meeting for the Special Assessment Commission.
I'll make the motion.
Dave makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mike
Second.
makes a second. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. Dave?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
And a yes for me. Motion carries. Thank you. And I'll get in touch with those 3, and we'll get the ball rolling. And
You said $50 per meeting?
yep. The Hillsboro Days Outdoor Drinking Ordinance, I believe we have it, a draft for us.
Do I have a draft for you?
Oh, never mind.
I don't think I
I
do.
just seen an ordinance, so I was.
Nope, that's not that one then.
Sorry,
Nope,
I
that's still a
didn't
work
sign
in
that.
progress.
Sorry.
It's fine. So nothing new on that one yet.
Nothing new on that one
I
yet. No.
see his signature.
All right, I seen drinking ordinance, so I
Yep,
thought, whoa.
yep.
I didn't look at it any further. I should have known when there was an orange tab there. All right, the budget, we're still working on that. Ashley had sent out, there, a while back or a few days ago on our debt, so you guys can look at that, but she is working. I asked her to add in what the interest rate was and then what is left as our principal on those, so that we can see where we're at. The other item that I wanted to check with you on that is at the last meeting, we approved to spend $100,000 or so to come out of our debt retirement to pay off the Highway 200 project, correct?
No, it was the water tower.
Or the water tower?
I think it was the water tower.
Uh,
Do you want me to go grab my other folder?
no, the Couldn't have been the water tower, cause that's three.
I don't think it was a water tower.
I think it was the Highway 200.
Was it? Okay.
I
Yep.
think so.
But Ashley informed me today that initially we were thinking it was gonna be around 100,000 if we wait till March to pay it off. If we pay it off September 1st, we're looking at 90-some thousand. So would we want to have it paid off sooner than later and save a few,
Interesting.
Yeah,
a
that's
little bit of interest?
That's a no-brainer, I guess, on that
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get that taken care of.
Do we need a motion on that, or do
We already approved to pay it, it's just
Yeah,
when we're paying it.
but last time you made a
we-
motion.
Okey-dokey.
All right, demo grant, I'm going to talk with Gary tonight after the meeting for a few minutes, and we'll talk about that, but we haven't moved too much more on that.
Gary's been too busy to meet. He's
Yeah, he's been traveling all
gagging
over.
around South Dakota, just checking out the fields, and
All right.
we did have a couple meetings planned, but they got canceled.
The new business, A, was a miscommunication between Ashley and I. And Sarah, she had sent that application to me that was already approved. I said to put it in the folder, meaning our folder online on Teams for everybody to see, not the folder for the meeting tonight. So we can cross off A, that does not need approval. The next item is on the Airport Authority, would be to approve their recommendation of Kyle Clapper for their new board member.
Make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second?
Probably moved it and seconded, moved by Dave, seconded by Mike. Any other discussion? Mike?
Yes.
Nicole? Paul?
Yes,
Dave?
Yes.
And a yes for me. Motion carries. Line item C, you might have read in the banner last week that Paul and HEDC or HBA had looked at doing a collaborative effort to kind of a citizen organization group for the football game on 8/26. There's a few of us that met last week, and we're going to follow up again. We're looking at a tailgating event. There is some money through Missouri River that we can use to help pay for that. And so with your approval, I'd like to have us spend up to $1,000 total for that. It's kind of a get to know everybody, get to know the organizations, what's out there for our community, and Paul can probably talk a little bit more about it too.
yeah, so what we're looking at doing is we're having it's kind of there's a lot of things going on in this. It's not just tailgating per se, and we're also gonna, we're hoping to put the tent up in case of inclement weather. And we're going to have some tailgating events, whether it be bean bags or whatever, different games for the kids. But one of the main things is we want the public to be informed about what's going on with HEDC, what's going on with HPA, what's going on with the city. We want representatives from those three entities. Hopefully, all the city council members can be there. If there's any people that would like to meet them, have questions for them, it's kind of a meet and greet. Also, we're going to have information about what's happening in Hillsboro. We're hoping to have little sheets of all the things that go on in Hillsboro throughout the year. We're hoping to have sheets that list all the different organizations in Hillsboro and contacts, hopefully, or a place to find those contacts. We're also encouraging any new people that have moved to Hillsboro in the last 6 months. We do welcome baskets. That might be a good opportunity for them to come and receive those welcome baskets, kind of explain what's in them, invite them to Hillsboro. It'd be a good way to get those without having to try to set up a time or a meeting place. So there's really going to be a lot of different things going on. We're going to have food added too. So, and he had asked for the $1,000. We're hoping, that it won't cost that much, but we are going to have some door prizes available. We are going to have the food that'll cost. We're hoping that MRES can help foot part of that bill. And then what will also happen is the remainder of the bill would be split between the Business Association, the City of Hillsboro, and Economic Development. Gary hasn't had they don't meet till Monday, so he can't give a definite yes or no maybe unless he knows or talk to people. But as far as the HBA goes, and if the city agrees to it tonight, it would be pretty much a go on the funding side. I don't see a problem with HEDC, paying their third on this project.
And I talked to Jody today, and she said this does qualify. They just need to have their name on the banner, which I got Sheila that information, and then she's gonna send me out some pamphlets and stuff. And all they ask is that we have a table set up with information about Missouri River Energy Services, so people can come and learn, more about what they are and what they serve in our community. And then they can do up to $1,000 match. If that's what we need, that's what we qualify for. So if it's less than that, say it's 500, they'll split that cost.
Right.
So but it has to be the cities. Let me rephrase that. They will match half the cost of the city's share of the event.
So we're hoping that all of our commissioners can be there and at least put in some time. It's going to be from 5 to 7. It's for the Kindred football game, so there's going to be a big crowd there. We're hoping that there's a lot of people there. It's the week before Labor Day weekend. It's the 26th of September. So we're hoping to spread the word. August, excuse me. I'm sorry to believe that there's that many games going on already in August, but August. And, the more we can get, we're planning food for quite a few. So, but the more we can have to kind of ask anybody's questions, just kind of get the meet and greet. And it's only 2 hours. If we can have people help serve food, maybe help run some games, we're going to have a lot of things covered. But it's more just kind of a meet and greet. And if there is anybody new from Hillsboro, they probably would like to know who some of the members are of the HEDC, who are our city commissioners and things like that. So I don't think it's going to be a real high pressure situation, but more of a meet and greet and just get to know your neighbor. So I hope you'll support the 1,000.
Sounds like a good plan. I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved by Dave, seconded by Mike. Is there any other discussion? Paul?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
And a yes for me. All right. The one item of business that came in kind of late, and I forgot to ask Ashley to put it on, but it is in your packet, is the John Lowry is asking for us to sit down on Wednesday for the Economic Development Administration grant that is due on September 1st, so before our last meeting. I was hoping to get approval from you guys so we wouldn't have to have a special meeting to approve it. But basically the way that it sounded is they would do all the work applying for it, but it would be the city that actually has to submit the grant. It is up to $100,000, and it is they're looking for that funds to pay for the center area that on the project for splash pad pool or splash pad area, I believe is what they were looking at. I won't know more until Wednesday at the meeting, but otherwise we would have to wait. All right, I'll have to call a special meeting if we did get done and then to approve it. So I just want to know your thoughts on it before we go in on Wednesday.
So you're just looking so that we would support
And that
city.
it's okay for the city to submit this grant application and for, I assume, Ashley and I to sign off or whoever needs to sign off on it.
And this is like by the lake area then, or the?
I'm not 100% sure.
It's green space. When Lowry called me the other day, he said that there's like recreational park green space and they want to do something with that. And that's what this grant is for, is it has to be utilized towards public, public
Public Space Initiative grant.
Yeah.
And this is not a matching grant, so it can be, there's no match that we need to put into it.
We're just the go-between then.
We are, similar to the one that they did before for Garrison Diversion, I believe.
I'll make a motion to move ahead with it then.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved by Dave, seconded by Mike. Is there any other discussion? Mike?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Nicole? And a yes for me, motion carries. I believe that is it. Oh, yes. Reminder that the City Hall will be closed on Wednesday from 1 until 4:30. This Wednesday will be our first time to do that for training and within the auditor's staff.
Are you gonna put that on the app?
Are you gonna try and document what kind of things that you do at those at those times? Like if you're doing training or if you're catching up to so we kinda know going forward that,
We
you know,
can
come
give-
January that we say, hey, looks like they've been making good use of this time. Cause I think we review this again in January, right?
We can give, like, I can give an update.
Right.
We can try to track. In our
Yeah.
office, it's kind of sporadic. Like, you
Right.
guys know when you come in, we are
Right.
working on one thing and then
Mhm.
it kind of trickles into
Right.
several. But Julie is going to be gone on Wednesday. I asked her to come up with some things that I can go over with Sarah or something that we can train Sarah on during that time. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to make the meeting for the grant or not, or if I'm going to stay in the office. Obviously, I don't want Sarah just sitting there not doing anything, so I need to find something that she can
Right.
train on. I have plenty of work that I'm able to do during that time to get caught up on, but it's a matter of Julie's got to train Sarah on a lot of stuff, and if Julie's not there, then we need to have something for Sarah to be learning while we're in that
And,
period.
and because you won't have those interruptions, it'll be easier to document what you're doing
Right.
because you're not
Right.
working on this for 10 minutes and then jumping to this. This is what we're planning on doing on Wednesday, and we should almost have that. So you
Well,
kind of.
I can't say I can give it to you like up front because.
Well, no, but I'm saying is,
But
what I'm saying is
yes,
after you're
yeah,
done.
def-
yeah,
Yeah,
so-
definitely after the
Mhm.
fact, yes.
And I would say for Wednesday, can go and I'll let you know what we need to do on that.
Okay, I can hop on the phone too, but
Is there any other items or any other individuals that need to address the commission? Gary? Okay.
Tonight.
The world traveler. Do I have a motion to adjourn then?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.